Hey, what's up guys, your boy Nick, and we are back with another video. In today's video guys, we're going to be doing a taper on my boy Jody, and then we're also going to be cleaning up his beard too as well. So if you guys are ready to get into the video, let's get it. So when he first came in, he had a do-rag on, so we're going to start by combing out his hair, making sure to raise the hair up off of his scalp, checking for any imperfections, and then we're going to use our number one guard to start to take his hair down. Now since he's a waver, you want to make sure you go in the direction of his growth pattern. Now if you take this 1.5 and you go against the grain, that will take all of his waves off. So you want to make sure you go with the grain. You want to pay attention to see if there are any cowlicks, if there are any swirls. Most likely they'll be in the front of his hairline or towards his crown. So you just want to make sure you go with the grain. Now we're going to start to make our first guideline, which is going to be our ball guideline with my T outliners. Now I'm going to make this ball line in the shape of an arch, and then I'm just going to go ahead and clean it up. So now with my 0A blade on my BGRVs, I'm going to follow the shape of that first guideline that I set, and I'm going to create my second guideline. So now I'm going to come back with my orthotopazes with the lever halfway open, and then I'm going to start to take out that second guideline. Now you want to make sure you play with that lever and just buff out that line as quickly as possible. So now with my 1.5 blade on my BGRVs, I'm going to make my third guideline. Now remembering to keep that same shape that I made with my original 2 guidelines. So I'm going to come behind that with my 1A blade on my BGRVs. Now I'm just going to use my corners to start to buff out this line. Now it isn't going to take out the line all the way, but I just want to soften up this line as much as possible. So now I switch to my 1 blade, and I'm going to continue to do the same thing. Just soften up that line as much as possible while continuing to use my corners. So now I have my 0A blade on my clippers. Now this is going to be the last blade that I'm going to be using. So remember guys, whatever you put the line in with is what you have to take it out with. So I'm going to use this to take out the rest of that line. So now I have my 2 guard on my Babyliss FXs. So I'm just going to start to flick out at this bulk at the top. Now I'm not trying to set another guideline. I'm just trying to soften up this bulk as much as possible. So now I'm going to backdoor that with my 1.5 blade, and I'm just going to continue to soften up that bulk. Now I'm also fading in his sideburns too as well. And I also want you guys to notice that I'm constantly brushing his hair every time I do a pass with the clippers. This helps lay down the hair in the position that it naturally wants to lay in, and then it helps me to see if my clippers are cutting off any hair. So now I have my number 1 guard with the lever all the way open. Now guys, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I like to fade up and then come back down to check my work and to also detail the fade at the same time. And like I said earlier too guys, don't be afraid to use that lever on the side. If you notice that the clipper isn't taking any hair off with the lever all the way open, close the lever until you start to see hair come off. So now I'm going to continue to fade down and detail this fade with my half guard on my clippers, and remembering just to use the corner of my blades. I'm not trying to set any other lines. Alright guys, so now that we're finished with this taper on the sides, we're going to move to the back and we're going to do the exact same process. So I'm going to start by balding them out. And then I'm going to come with my 0A blade and I'm going to set my second guideline. Remember guys, the neater your guidelines are, the neater that your fade comes out. So now I have my orthotopazes with the lever halfway open, and we're just going to buff out this line. Now I have my 1.5 blade. I'm going to set my third guideline, making sure this guideline is consistent all the way through. Now with my 1A blade, remembering to use my corners, I'm going to start to soften up this guideline I just set with my 1.5 blade. So now I have my one blade, and I'm gonna continue to do the same exact thing. Now, I think I spoke about this in my last video. Here lately, I've been using detachable blades, well, 0A through 1.5. I feel like it's taken a lot of time off of my cut time, and I feel like my cuts have been a lot more consistent lately. So this is something that I've definitely been playing with. This is something that I'm gonna continue to keep in my arsenal. So now I have my number 2 guard on my clipper, and I'm just gonna flick at this bulk. Remember, I'm not trying to set another guideline, I'm just trying to debulk this area as much as possible. And then I'm gonna come backdoor this with my 1.5, and then my 1, and then my half, until this line is completely faded out. Alright guys, so for the left side of this taper, I'm going to speed things up a little bit. Now I'm going to be doing the exact same process. I'm going to start by balding them out. I'm going to set my initial guideline with my 0A, and then I'm going to come back with my topazes and buff that line out. And then I'm going to set my third guideline with my 1.5 blade, and then I'm going to go down from 1A to the 1 to the 0 until that line is taken out. And then I'm gonna come back with my number 2 guard and flick at the bulk at the top, and then come behind that with my 1.5 guard and continue to flick at that bulk, and then just down fade until all the lines are completely taken out of the fade. And also too, I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video, if you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, you're getting some value out of it, go ahead and hit that like button too as well. It really helps my videos, and it helps them get seen by more people. And to all the people that have been rocking with me since day one, I really appreciate you guys, and I'm going to keep on dropping these videos. Alright guys, so we're going to start with his back edge up. Now you guys want to make sure you follow his natural hairline, because if you guys take it in too much, when that hair starts to grow back, it starts to look crazy, and the clients just really appreciate it. So just keep it as natural as possible. Now as far as his front lineup, I'm going to start by lining up his beard. Now I like to start with the back of the beard and then come back and then do the top. Now you really want to make sure you keep this as natural as possible. Most guys like to keep every strand of hair that they can in their beard. So just keep it as natural as possible while also making it sharp too as well. And as you guys can see, I went on to line up his temples, and it's the same concept, guys. You want to keep this as natural as possible. Most times people really don't care about the haircut as much as they care about that lineup. So if you take them too far back and they start to see hair growing back in a couple days, that can potentially lose you a client. So you just want to make sure you keep everything as natural as possible, but sharp too as well. Now I'm going to do his front line up. What I like to do, I like to face him in the mirror so I can see exactly what I'm doing. One thing you guys always want to remember is that the mirror never lies. I feel like I told you a couple things in this video that you guys should always remember, but this is one of the more important things. The mirror never lies. So you constantly want to be checking your fade in the mirror while you're cutting, and then it's a good thing to turn your clients in the mirror while you're doing their edge up. The mirror never lies. So if it's straight in the mirror, it's going to be straight when someone looks at them. So the corners of his hairline are a little bit lighter, so we're gonna go ahead and spray some hair fibers just to fill those in a little bit. And then we're also doing this just to take this cut to the next level, give it more of a sharper look. We want people to see this haircut and be like, man, where'd you get his haircut at? So we're just gonna add on a little bit of this, not too much to where it doesn't look natural, but enough to help fill in those spots that are a little bit lighter in his edge up. Now when it comes to using a razor, guys, you want to make sure you hold it at a 45-degree angle while stretching the skin to ensure you do not cut your client. So now I'm just doing a little bit of detail work, guys. Now this is what really makes the cut. Just take that extra 5-6 minutes just to detail everything. Really takes the cut to the next level, and your clients really appreciate it, guys. So alright guys, this is the before. And here's the after. Hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Be sure to be on the lookout for my next upload. And if you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And until next time, guys, I'm gonna catch you guys later. Peace.